Welcome to the bold analysis. The mental picture being created in the minds of Kenyans about existing or rather coming jobs from the affordable housing is a clear signal that those jobs will not be available. And the resources, the kind of input in it is something that is alarming enough for someone to just ask ourselves whether they're going to have a house. There is a video clip of First Lady Rachel Ruto telling some group of women how they are going to supply cement, they are going to get jobs as plumbers and so in the mjengo structures where affordable housing projects are going to be done. According to William Ruto's plan, they are planning to build 200,000 houses, affordable housing houses, for the first, in the next 5 years. So probably we're waiting, maybe by first year we should have seen 50,000. And I can tell you without blinking my eye, after the finance bill, one of the biggest bone of contention was that housing fund, because a Kenyan could not understand and was not convinced, even to date, how what started as a levy was changed to a tax and it was supposed to be refunded. The refunding story ended. And how someone is contributing money for government to build them houses in a country where our children are still sitting in a classroom. A 40 capacity classroom is holding 200 students. In a country where our policemen are still operating in shanties. Kenyans were not convinced why I am giving money, and that levy or rather that tax is not directly is not a guarantee that I'm going to get a house. I wanted to get the soundbite of Mama Rachel because it is actually showing why the housing levy is still being defended in public, even week later after the budget story ended. Why that has remained. But you need to get what Mama Rachel is saying here.
Sisi tunataka kusupply simiti. Si ni kweli? To supply mabati. To supply chuma. Na kina mama, kuna kazi pia huko. Kazi ya kukua electrician, kazi ya kukua plumber. Yani makazi mingi ambao unalipwa karibu shilingi 2,000, 3,000 kila siku. Nani alisema ni wanaume peke yao?
Intentionally, the reason why the story about the housing, the affordable housing is still going on in public by state officers is because Kenya Kwanza wants to create the new narrative. When the housing, the affordable housing project was hatched, when it started at 3%, then 1.5%, the discussion was two-way. Apart from, number one, we are going to get jobs. Number two, we are going to eradicate the slums. Now, if you remember, there is a speech of William Ruto speaking in Kakamega, and he said that the main intention of affordable housing is not even for us to get the houses, but about the jobs. Now, the reason why the Rachel Rutos are talking about that housing in the context of the job is because after 5 years, Kenyans will be meant to believe that they should not ask about the number of houses that have been built, but they should demand about amount of jobs that have been created. Why is government picking the jobs as the main discussion and not availability of the house? The data about amount of jobs that have been created can be manipulated, can be cooked. But it will be very difficult to show us, or rather to manipulate, or rather to lie about a number of housing units that you have built, because the journalists will have to ask for that data. In county X, how many have you built where? In city, in Nairobi, how many have you built where? How have they been occupied? And I can tell you, this is one project that media will follow to the latter. So they have decided that they are dropping the discussion about availability of the house, because after 5 years, we are still going to have Kibera slum as it is. We are still going to have Mathare slum. We are still going to have Mukuru kwa Njenga. So the discussion about doing away with the slum is not viable, because it's not going to be achieved. And they have picked one on the jobs, because on jobs, you can just come and manipulate some data and tell people that in the next 4 years, we've created 600,000 jobs. Wait and see. Number two, the narrative of the job is a sweetener. It is being used as a sweetener against the economic hardships that is looming. 16% fuel, VAT on fuel, you cannot underestimate. And I was just talking to someone, very good person from EPRA, who was saying that the price of fuel by the end of this year will increase by close to 12 shillings. Now, any slight increase, even by any slight review upwards of the cost of fuel, is going to affect the other factors of production, and with inflation is knocking on your in your budget. Inflation is one thing that is going to eat into your budget. And so, because Kenyans are still going through the hardship, you're being told about the job. But if you get a job with inflation above 12%, then 500 shillings will not have any value. Lastly, the reason why the housing levy is still going on is unemployment remains the most painful unmet campaign pledge. It's the most painful. First batch of it was creation of Hustler Fund to allow many people to be engaged in some entrepreneurship, business, so that when you increase the number of people in business, you're going to increase the tax base. As to date, there is a data, and if someone has a data, this data can show us how many people, or the number of, or let me say, increase or a change of entrepreneurs because of Hustler Fund. Or let me ask it this way. If someone can get a data, some NGO, whether it's done by NGO or a research firm, on the ripple effect of Hustler Fund in relation to number of people in business. How many people entered in business and thrived in business through the 500 shillings that was being given in Hustler Fund? Someone should produce that data, because when the concept was being developed, that was the reason. So unemployment remains the most painful thing, and they need to keep messaging that things are going to change. I am really saddened. Mama Rachel is one that knows very well, me and you knows very well, that what she's telling those group of women, she's lying. We know very well she's lying. If you look at the model of affordable housing is a PPP, public-private partnership. Government has given incentives, which is including some tax exemptions, and the horizontal services like construction of hospitals and maybe roads in those places. And through those tax exemptions, investors are supposed to pump their money. And the concept of government is that by the time when they give these incentives, in fact, even land is one of the incentives, when they give those incentives, the cost of producing a unit house will go down, and then with that, people can be able to get houses at a cheaper price. But with that model, those who are going to win the tenders to supply cement, those who are going to win the tenders to make the windows, to make the doors, the interior designers, are people that government is going to control that, and there are people that are sitting in the decision-making table. The same people that are supposed to award the tenders to Mama Mboga are the same people that are going to get those tenders. It's true. And I wish anyone who attended that will know that. You're not going to get a tender to supply to supply cement, because is affordable housing the only project going on? Currently, as we speak, how many tenders has been given to the hustlers? Nowhere. If hustler number one, that woman who was the emblem of hustler of Mama Mboga, was not given anything until Nation went, covered her story, and she said she was never helped. Then the same government team went after her, and I think she was given some sweetener. Then she had to retract the other statement and make some very, very funny statements there. And I looked at it, that was so funny. I'm like, yeah, sometimes when the government lacks crisis communication people, if you want to communicate that Yule Mama her life changed, then you wanted to do a rebuttal of NTV video, you don't go to shoot the same video where she's working. Go to her place. Take us to a place where amejengewa some house big, because she endorsed the president. Now, President Ruto. So if the person who endorsed become the president, really, your life should change. How many people? What is the cost of endorsements? Just corporate endorsements, it's millions. So if government wanted to show that life ya yule mama ili change, they would have gone to her place and take a video there. I'm telling you. Now, I need to make this. Kindly subscribe to our channel. Now, I'm reminding you about our fundraiser. We are doing something different this month, doing a children's home visit in Dagoretti. We are supporting a feeding program. We've been supporting a lot of help, but this time we decided to support a feeding program. We are targeting 50,000 to buy food stuff for children in an orphanage known as Nemaland. And you can see I've pinned the number there, and I welcome your support. Thank you as we endeavor to bring this to a reality. Back to what we are saying. She's lying. Look at the new tender. There's some two tenders that have been given now. Two. One is that government deal, that oil. It was given to 3 companies. Multinational. Of course, no hustler would benefit from that. But there have been others that have been given. It is those people at the decision-making table. Murkomen gave a tender to Nelson Koech, who is a member of parliament from, I think, Kericho County. There have also been some rumors that some William Ruto's campaign financiers are the ones benefiting from the multi-billion government tenders. So this is something that is here. Tenders are being given to William Ruto's friends, and they're going to be. Number 2, there is no legal framework in parliament. There is no guarantee in law that this investor must pick this gender for this job or this gender for this tender. It is not there. So even if someone is going to lie to you as a woman you want to, there is no specification on it. There is no legal, rule tying up the loose ends of that project, that when it comes to supply of eggs, you are going to give it to women. But people have to clap for them because ni kiongozi. I think it's not it. As to this, the country must be keen to observe. After 5 years, and mark this podcast, after 5 years, not even after 5 years, after 1 year, we should be given stock of how many houses have been built. We should not be told of how many jobs have been created. When you tell us the number of houses that have been built and we can see, then it just take our calculators and we know how many jobs have been created. The story will not start from how many jobs. I think the houses have to be created. It will not be enough to create those houses in people's minds without seeing them physically being created. That's my bold take on this.